Lebanon, saying, since thou art laid down, no feller has come up against thee. Hell from beneath is moved for thee to meet thee at thy coming.
Everybody, the earth itself, everybody in the earth, nobody can wait for this white man to go down. It's going to be a great day when Esau go his ass right down. Go ahead.
It stirreth up the dead for thee, even at the chief ones of the earth. It hath raised up from the thorns all the kings of the nations. Raised up from their thrones all the kings of the nations.
Meaning everybody is going to war, man. Right. And everybody can't wait to see you go down. Truthfully, go ahead.
Hey, man, that's why you got Gaddafi's and your what's the other dude? Fuck. And your Bin Laden's, Saddam's.
This nigga Ahmadinejad over there in Iran.
Yeah.
The nigga Assad over there in Syria.
Kim Chung.
Yeah,
Kim Jong, whatever that
what's the nigga name is? Well, you got Kim Jong Il, then you got the other one, the little son,
Kim Jong Un.
Yeah, Kim Jong Un. What's this nigga?
They all are.
This nigga over in Russia too.
Sighing and crying about this nation, man. They got some shit. It's like a little commercial on YouTube that they keep. It's called Iran Facts, and they just sitting there like, man, we keep yelling death to America, just as a chant that gives us motivation, but we need to start putting it into action. Enough talking. We need to start actually acting on this this model that we have. Verse 9, it says, even all the chief ones of the earth it hath raised from their thrones all the kings of the nations. All they shall speak and say unto thee, art thou also become weak as we? Art thou become like unto us?
Like unto us, man, because America want to portray itself as a superpower. America want to portray itself as if it's the elite and the #1 top country on the planet Earth. But now the nation, now look, you know what you're doing. Like, for example, I remember I used to get into it with these little white bitches, man. When I stayed in Orange County, they used to talk hella shit. But then they had vandalized the bathroom and they was all handcuffed on the motherfucking curb one day. And I walked by the ass, I was like, who's the nigger now? That's the exact same type of thing, man. You see what I'm saying? Like, oh, now look where your ass is at, white boy. You know what I'm saying? You right here where we at. You on the bottom with us. You see what I'm saying? Meanwhile, them niggas and them spicks that you had is fucking extorting. Now look where they at. They on top, man. You see what I'm saying? And that's basically what the nations is going to be saying to Esau on that day. But go ahead.
Verse 11. Thy pomp is brought down to the grave, and the noise of thy vials, the worms of
meaning thy strength. Thy pomp means thy strength. Their strength is brought down to the grave. Meaning the strength of the so-called white man is going to die. It's going to be burnt up right here in a lake of fire. Go ahead.
Yeah, man, that arrogance. It says, the worm is spread under thee, and the worm covereth thee.
Yeah, the worm meaning, the worm is basically devouring. It symbolizes that decay,
Verse 12, how art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning?
From heaven, you had the height of the hill. You was in the clouds, man. You have skyscrapers to symbolize, you had it all. To symbolize your rulership, you had it all. But you fell from heaven with the light of this world, which the light of this world is darkness. I was reading last week. Go ahead.
How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations?
That's right. How are you cut down to the ground, even though you had conquered the whole earth? Yet you were brought down to the ground. How is that possible? Why? Because the Most High God did it so. Go ahead.
Verse 13, for thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven, I will exalt my throne above the stars of the Most High.
Is that not what the so-called white man has done? The so-called white man trying to send rovers to Mars. The so-called white man doing space shuttles to the moon. He trying to have an international space station. He want to have a moon colony. He want to do all kind of shit.
On some Wally type shit.
Yeah.
I will also sit upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High.
Exactly. The so-called white man got a God complex. And that's a song that the last poet made. Go ahead.
Another thing that comes to mind when they say I will be like the Most High, I will ascend above the stars. Because what do? They go and put all of these satellites outside the orbit, and they can all look down and pinpoint any part of the earth.
So they can be omnipresent.
Yeah. Almost trying to be like the Most High. I can look down everywhere and see everything at any point of the earth.
I can hear anything. I got these y'all all got these smartphones. I tap in on your ass. I hear what you're saying.
With the PS4, you know what I mean? They're talking about oh, here go your boy from the with the PlayStation 4. How they say they got a camera on there where your boys can.
The PS4, the Xbox One, you mean?
The Xbox One.
PS4 got it too.
PS4 got it too.
I thought it's for the Kinect, and then they took that shit off.
No, it's on there. It's on there.
PS4 got it.
If you walk in the room, if you walk in the room, your Xbox will say what's up to you.
Yeah, that's how that should be. How that should be. But they got all these things, and they break all that shit down. They can almost look down, trying to be like the Most High. That's how they do it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true with the satellites. But yeah, if you ever heard that song, if not YouTube, The Last Poets, The White Man's Got a God Complex. I remember listening to that shit when I was a little ass kid. My dad used to always play that shit. You know what I'm saying? I always thought and he does gotta get motherfucker think he's God, man. You think he can do anything? And then he's trying to implement that chip. That chip is another way he has a God complex. Because what can the Most High God do? He can take your life from you at any second. Right. But when the white man put that chip in you, that's the same exact thing. Because he hit that button, it released that cyanide into your bloodstream, and your ass dropped dead. Man. The so-called white man has an extreme God complex.
This is.
Been on that Dr. York.
Yeah, yeah. We just did. Hey, look, we just did a 3-hour video getting into Dr. York's boy.
Yeah, bro. I went to sleep at like 3 this morning, bro. For like the last 3-4 days, me and Dr. York, bro. That shit ain't old. He break everything, man. He got the Torah, he got the Quran, he got the Bible. He breaking any question, anything that they throw at him. I'm just like, damn. I'm adding things up and I'm going back and I'm referencing like.
I was about to say,
hey, look,
put him onto the debate, man. December 7th.
Look,
he changed.
I'm gonna show you a video. I'm gonna show you a video that me and this brother just did. It's a 3-hour long video where we completely destroyed everything Dr. York is talking about. He'll put a video that'll make him look good. Let me tell you something. 20 years ago, he had a debate with our elder. He cut his microphone off and made them shut the cameras off because our elder was cutting him so bad. He'll put a video out that'll make him look good. Dr. York is all about extorting our people and getting money from them. That's all he's about.
You seen his little...
Yeah, his little homie is...
Compound, his little...
Oh, yeah, Tabaret. He used to have a whole community in Georgia. Like a whole... It looked like a... Yeah. And then they came and broke that up. But the whole thing with York is... York like to take a little bit from everything and try to make it one thing. He got a book, a scroll out called Sodomy Misinterpreted, where he's saying it's okay to be a homosexual. He got a book, what's the other book? He got a book, 360 Questions to Ask a Hebrew Israelite, right? He had a whole series of different people, 360 questions to ask this person. I seen 150 of them questions, because you got to get the book to get it. But one of York's followers showed me like 150 of them questions. The majority of them are easy to answer. What he does and all his followers do, they play a semantical game. So they try to make it look one way when it's not, and they say a lot of big words. Like again, you probably seen the video. He probably was making everything look good, but when you come and question any of them dudes for real, they don't know what to say. You see what I'm saying? But again, the brother was just saying there's a debate December 7th, Israelite versus basically Dr. York, because he's in prison. He gave his keys to the dude named Brother Polite. You can look up Polite on YouTube. He got all kind of videos on YouTube. And basically, Brother Polite is debating the Israelite, and this is going to be this huge thing. But their whole thing with Dr. York is his ultimate thing is the black woman is God. That's his whole message. You see what I'm saying? That's the ultimate thing. The black woman is God, and that's what like the main topic of the debate is going to be about. You see what I'm saying?
Who's he debating? Which one of our?
Nah. He debated a dude from ICBK.
Oh, okay.
I've been trying to debate him, but I don't know if it's gonna happen.
The thing is that he hasn't even really broke down or mastered the Bible to even try to.
Yeah, everything he's saying about the Bible is being. Yeah. They got questions.
I'm pretty sure he's read it. I'm pretty sure he knows some of the things that it says in there, and he's read the Quran, and he knows some things that say in the Quran, and he wants to break all that down and try to merge it all together from each.
Because that's what they do.
Philosophy.
Because they study the Bible, the Quran, and they study Egyptology. You see what I'm saying? And they want to,
we were just talking about that earlier. Yeah. Basically, he got a, like I said, they was bringing out earlier about talking about how you deal with the Holy Spirit.
Y'all don't deal with the Kemetic system?
Nah. Then that's why I said we just did a 3-hour because recently, like just out of nowhere, it's been Kemetic and Israelites kind of like clashing heads like a lot, like all over the place. Because that's like at this point, that's the two prominent things black people is into: Kemetic and being an Israelite.
I'm just thinking like naturally, like what came before all of this whole Jesus stuff and Christianity. So that would seem more.
See, but that's why we ain't dealing with Christianity.
That's one thing that they do. That's one thing that they do. They want to mix Christianity, or the beginning of Christianity, with the beginning of the Bible.
And it's not.
That's a long
Christianity
that's a long
and the
gap,
Bible.
yeah.
Christianity and the Bible don't got too much to do with each other. Truthfully, Christianity, really, our people made up Christianity based off of Egyptian religion. When that's the whole thing of our video. We basically show how Christianity is more Kemetic than it's European. You see what I'm saying? In all actuality, everything about Christianity is Kemetic. You see what I'm saying? But when you go into the Bible, like for example, the virgin birth, Mary was a virgin. That's not in the Bible. That's a Christian doctrine that they got from Egypt, that Egypt got from Babylon. You see what I'm saying? Going all the way back with your story of Semiramis and Tammuz. You see what I'm saying? But in the Bible, it don't talk about Mary being the virgin.
So what is the most original practice then? Would it be the Kemetic or the Israelite?
I'll say the Israelite, but the thing is, now it's a dispute because you'll have Kemetic people say, well, this was so and so many thousand years ago, and we'll say, well, that's BS. You can't prove it. But they'll say, let's go to carbon dating, and that's what the main thing we was just going into before you came up here is carbon dating. How carbon dating is, you shouldn't trust it because it's so. Number one, it's just theory. And the word theory means speculation, so it's just speculation. Number two, it's impossible to know. It's impossible to calculate a proper rate of carbon on the Earth that should be in any particular object. Number three, they dated a seal that died 2 weeks before they dated it. 2 weeks before they dated it, they dated a seal and said it was 8,000 years old. You see what I'm saying? So when you factor stuff like that, then carbon dating shouldn't be trusted. So I can't, if you tell me something is so many thousand years old, and the only proof you can bring to me of that is carbon dating, well, I'm going to say, well, I'm not going to accept that because carbon dating is BS. You see what I'm saying?
How much percentage is 76%?
They say it's about, but really it's higher than that. Really they say anything that's carbon dated can't be more than a third of the time that it actually said. But I mean, really, it's all. I wouldn't go with anything because different objects, they get corrupted. You can test the same object, like you get a sign like this. You can test it on one side and the other side, and it'll say two totally different times. You see what I'm saying? But the whole thing is, it's hard to say which comes first. But all in all, nothing predates about 5,000 years ago. You see what I'm saying? Nothing on Earth gives any actual evidence to be older than 5,000 years old. Does that make sense? Nothing other than if they say it's carbon dated. But as far as any written history, nothing goes back further than 5,000 years. The scholars all say out of all the stuff we compile from the different Eastern, Africa, Asia, all over the place, nothing's older than 5,000 years.
Yeah, scholars will even tell you that. Anything past 5,000, they'll, like they say, theoretically or speculate that it's more than that.
So like the Olmecs.
The Olmecs?
Yeah, they're like 2,500 years old. You see what I'm saying?
Them is real new.
But the whole thing is,
modern.
but the first, I'll say this, the first civilization on Earth was Kemetic. The Bible tell you that. Because it's Babylon.
You know what's funny? Because when he asked that question, I was gonna say that because you gotta understand, the scriptures was what was written at the time of Moses. Life was around long before then.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, the scripture. What I wouldn't say billions, but
Well, at least millions.
it was around a little bit before.
I don't think we haven't been here since.
Nobody,
I'm gonna tell you this.
Nobody can tell you that. Nobody can prove that.
If we've been here millions of years, there shouldn't be room for anybody to walk these streets. There should be so many people. It doesn't even make sense for the earth to be around for millions of years.
It hasn't been recycled like with the flood.
Well, with the flood, a lot of people died. But see, when you believe that the world was around, a lot of people that believe the world was around millions of years don't believe in the flood. You see what I'm saying? So that's the thing. And like we were just going into, because a dude was trying to make a case for carbon dating. He was like, carbon dating is based off of the trees. You know, the rings around the tree, you can count how many, but it's not. The oldest tree, according to rings, is 5,000 years old. 5,063 years old. You said what?
All about trees.
I think the tree you talking about, it used to be the one you talking about. There's one older than that. They just found it though. They just found it, and it's got 5,013 rings around it. You see what I'm saying?
Where's this at?
That it's in
Norway.
Yeah, Norway. It's the Norway spruce tree. It's 5,013 years old. You see what I'm saying? So
Ooh,
that's
trees could talk.
yeah.
Boy.
You know what I'm saying?
Hey, I put everything I have. Be the first one there, man. Hey, just let me know what's going on.
Yeah. What was before this?
Man.
What did you see, man? You know?
You know what I'm saying?
Nah, for real though.
Damn.
For real though. But so that's the thing. Like, okay, if we going by the rings, ain't nothing older than 5,000 years old. According to the scriptures, the earth is about 12,000 years old. You see what I'm saying? So that's what we go by. You see what I'm saying? I mean, everybody in town say you don't believe, but that's what we go by. You see what I'm saying?
The dynasties on Egyptians, they don't go back.
They go back, but not like not
At least 6, 7.
I wouldn't say about 5. There was a lot of Egyptian dynasties, though. You see what I'm saying? There was a lot, but it all happened in the course of about. When did Egypt go? When Alexander came on the scene. So that was about what? Alexander came like 200 BC. So I would say Egypt had about a 3,000 year run. You see what I'm saying? But the whole thing is, the first civilization, according to the scriptures, was Kemetic in Babylon.
Yeah.
Everything is recycled, dude. I mean, even with science, they talk about these underground cities. And, you know, we had different races, not as far as levels of melanin, but species of mole people or whatever that was underground in this.
See, but I'm gonna tell you, you know who came up with that? I'm gonna tell you. Listen, the cool thing is, I've been researching so much shit. You know who came up with that? The bitch who taught Hitler was a woman by the name of Madame Blavatsky. She's like basically the mother of all the like demonic white boy shit that you see. Like, she created all of it. She gave it to Hitler. That's when their whole concept of the Aryan race came. And their whole thing is, even though, because white people ain't even Aryan, they just claiming to be Aryan. You see what I'm saying? Aryans is really Iranians, Persians. You see what I'm saying? But their whole idea of the Aryan race was there's an island, a hidden continent that got lost before even Atlantis, named Lemuria. And they said that the people were like mole people that evolved into people with tails and that were like orthopods, and then they became human beings and they went to Atlantis. Like, that's all, like that whole, all that thought process, it goes back to some crazy witch white lady. You see what I'm saying? That's why, I don't get into all that. You see what I'm saying? But as far as, but really, when you go back to the oldest civilization to get back to Babylon, everybody, white man didn't even exist at this point. You know what I'm saying? You had your different, your Kemetic people, your Hamites, you had your different Shemitic people and your different Japhetic people. And it was just, everybody was all together, building this one kingdom. And then, the Lord came down, and that's when he did the confusion, the tongues. Yeah, exactly. Now, look, I don't want all y'all to be together. You're going to speak this language, y'all going to go over here, y'all going to go over there. You see, because the Middle East, because some people say, well, the Middle East is part of Africa, which, I mean, you can say that because at the end of the day, the Africans and, us, the Israelites, the black people, we all came from the Middle East. And then as white people and Arabs rose to power, we got driven into Africa. You see what I'm saying? More so. Because Egypt was always in Africa. You know what I'm saying? You always had like Northern and Eastern Africa always had people. But like Southern Africa, Central Africa, and West Africa started to get populated as we got pushed out of the Middle East. You see what I'm saying?
So that's really, and actually that's really your answer. How like you said, the Hamitic or the Kemetic empire or system was first. Then the Lord confounded all the languages and separated everybody, and that's when he made his choice who to deal with and where the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding was going to stem from.
Yeah, exactly.
We actually just brought that out. Matter of fact, what was that, Daniel 1?
Yeah, Daniel 1, okay. Daniel 1, 3-4.
We just brought that out because people would take that and say, oh, well, if the Kemetic, society was first, then that means everything else is supposed to stem off of that. Which logically, yeah, you would think, but if the Lord started dealing with one place, and then you really see how everything starts to come or stem from that, like your Moors, like over in Europe, and then you got
all your West African, like your West African cultures, like you was talking about the Yoruba and whatnot. Like, you know what I'm saying? Your
I'm
Igbo
gonna say
and
your
all
West
that.
African, yeah.
Like, you ever heard of the book Hebrewisms of West Africa? Well, you should look it up. It deals with the Igbo, the Yoruba, the Ashanti, and how all the West African tribes basically have total Hebrew customs. You see what I'm saying? And are different from other parts of Africa and their traditions. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, Hebrewisms of West Africa is called. But you know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, the Kemetic culture and tradition are, you know, the mother of a lot of the stuff we see out here, but not the scripture. You see what I'm saying?
Where the scriptures come from.
Well, I mean, the scriptures take account. I mean, the scriptures, of course, come from the Most High, gave it to Moses, and you know, passed it down to different prophets and things like that. But the scriptures basically chronologically tell us what happened from the creation of time all the way up to the time of Moses, all the way up to now. You see what I'm saying?
Before Moses.
You said what?
That's before Moses.
I mean, it talks about what happened before Moses.
Well, he wasn't given until Moses.
It was basically the Lord gave it. Yeah, it was basically like an oral tradition. You see what I'm saying? Then you have certain other like the Epic of Gilgamesh, which York and them follow the Epic of Gilgamesh and the Sumerian tablets, right? They say the Sumerian tablets and stuff came before Moses because the Sumerian tablets they speak of a flood. But when you really go down to it, I think how many did they say? When you watching the video with me, I think the elder said there was like 5,000 different flood stories, all from cultures all around the world.
I watched that. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So basically, everybody got a concept of the flood. That's how you know the flood actually happened, because every culture got a story about it. You know what I'm saying? That's how you know this shit had to be true. But the whole thing is, before Moses, the Hebrews was an oral tradition. But as we coming out of Egypt, it was actually getting our land, and actually was becoming a nation. The Lord wanted to give us the tablets, you know, so we have a written tradition. You know what I'm saying? The Torah, you know, which is the law, and then, you know, the rest of the Bible.
So the Torah was there first before the Bible was done?
Before the rest of the Bible comes the Torah. You see what I'm saying? When Moses went up
from the Bible.
because
they believe in the Torah.
Because the Islam, they follow the Torah, because you got the Torah and then the Tanakh, and that's the Old Testament, and then you got the New Testament, which is usually exclusive to Christians. But then the Jewish people, they follow the Talmud, and then the people in Islam, they follow the Quran. But everybody who is in an Abrahamic tradition, they follow the Torah at least. You know what I'm saying? But go ahead.
This is Daniel 1 and 3. And the king spake unto Ashpenaz, the master of the eunuchs, that he should bring certain...
Real quick, this is the king of Babylon talking, which is a Cushite, which is like a Ethiopian. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
I'm going to read verse 1. In the third year of the reign of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, came Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon. So it's, Babylonian. Verse 3, and the king spake unto Ashpenaz, the master of his eunuchs...
Real Chaldeans, not the Arabs that's up in the store talking about their Chaldeans and stuff. You know, go ahead.
It says that he should bring certain of the children of Israel and of the king's seed and of the princes, children in whom was no blemish, but well favored and skillful in all wisdom.
Skillful in the wisdom, go ahead.
And cunning in knowledge and understanding science.
So the Kemetic people, they came to Israel because they wanted to know Israel's wisdom and Israel's science. You see what I'm saying? Go ahead.
And such as had ability in them to stand in the king's palace, and whom they might teach the learning and the tongue of the Chaldeans.
So they wanted to teach the Israelites the tongue of the Chaldeans, so the Israelites could therefore teach the Chaldeans and the Babylonians the things that they knew. You know, the science and the wisdom and everything. You see what I'm saying? Because this is coming a little bit after the time of Solomon, and during the time of Solomon, everybody was trying to come to Israel because Solomon was the wisest man in the world, so everybody wanted to get a little piece of his game. You know what I'm saying?
This is the time of Moses right here. This is Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 5. It says, but I have taught you statutes and judgments, even as the Lord my God commanded you, that you should do so in the land whither you go to possess it. Keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations.
Exactly. So that's basically what the Bible is. We're supposed to follow the Bible so we can have our wisdom and our understanding before all the people. You see what I'm saying? Go ahead. So they can know what differentiates us from everybody else. You see what I'm saying? Go ahead.
Which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people.
Exactly, which is what your different nations, especially your Kemetic people, were recognizing this is a wise and understanding people. That's why a lot of Kemetic people was trying to follow after our ways. They said, look, we desire to follow your God as you do, because they saw how wise and understanding we were by following the laws, statutes, commandments that the Lord had laid out for us.
What is that, Ezra?
What Ezra 4.
I mean, yeah, like it's basically you just gotta have that spirit of discernment, man, to know what's truth and what's not. Because the dudes is gonna hit you with, like the dude polite that we telling you on December 7th.
They sound real good, man. You know,
he would hit you with some shit. You'd be like, damn, this dude is legit, you know. But the only thing you do, you put him up against somebody that actually knows. That's gonna say, look, dude, you're not gonna, trick me with all your big words and your fancy talk. I know what you're talking about. Ask me a question, I'm gonna answer it for you. You're not gonna catch me up like you would do like a weak or lower level Israelite that don't know what he's talking about.
Like for example, like they was doing a pre-debate, right? And they was getting questions from the crowd. Now the dude that, York's little homie, he said, look, if we are Kemetic, please explain to me where exactly we come from.
And why?
Why if we were so great, why did we go down, and why did we get over here, and what's next for us? And when he didn't answer the question.
York did it?
Well, York's a little homie, because York's in prison, so he got his little homie named Polite. Yeah, Polite. And basically, he asked that question, which is a beautiful question, and he couldn't answer the question. But see, at least if you would have asked us that question, well, we would have said, look, we're going to go to the scriptures, I'm going to show you why we say we Israelites, why we fell as Israelites, why we over here, and how we can get the hell up out of here. You see what I'm saying? But a dude that's into that, he can't give you none of that. You see what I'm saying?
And that's
but
one
really,
thing, real quick,
really they just hitting the lick.
That's one thing as us as people, period. The first thing, when you a kid and your mama tell you, hey, don't do that, the first thing you're going to say is, well, why?
Yeah.
Well, why? You know what I mean?
That's all you would say.
With York, the only thing they're going to do is provide you with a lot of history and a lot of, this is the position that we in now, and this is what we need to do. They're not going to tell you why and what the outcome is going to be. They know what they want the outcome to be. Oh, we want our people to do better. But we're telling people why it happened, when it happened, and what the outcome is. Because you can make our people better, but you're not going to get the so-called white man to stop being
a devil.
A devil,
and
yeah.
Oppressing us, you know what I'm saying? It's never gonna happen.
He's always gonna be that way. Your dude just raises his hand, you know what I mean?
We're gonna keep
doing it. Like, how are you gonna fix them? How do you actually cleanse the whole earth? You know what I mean?
You can't fix their ass, man.
Because the God of the Bible, he's gonna cleanse the whole earth. He's gonna put.
So would they be considered the reptilians or something? Or
well, now we don't consider them reptilians. I mean, see, but here's the thing about them, because the reason why York will say they're reptilian is because when you read the Sumerian tablets, it's similar to the Bible, but it tells you a little bit different. It says that basically that aliens had came to Earth, people from another planet had came to Earth to mine gold to fix their ozone layer. You see what I'm saying? And that some of the aliens that was here had an experiment called Eden. And in the experiment, they created Adam. They used their bone marrow, created Adam, and it created Eve. But then one of the reptilian aliens came down and sabotaged the experiment. And they created a reptilian race, which is the white people. That's what they believe. You see what I'm saying?
Sumerian.
Yeah, the Sumerian tablet. That's what, because look, I didn't know none of this until I talked to some of your followers on the phone, and they broke it all down.
They say they don't like the sun.
Yeah.
If you know, and if you always look at the vampire movies,
it's always right.
Maybe way out in the middle of like Czechoslovakia.
Yeah.
It's hell is dark, like, you know what I mean?
Hella murky,
you know what I mean? And cold kind of just always, you know what I mean? So it's like, it kind of logically.
Yeah, but it does make sense to the point. But then when you go into the scriptures, it tells us that the so-called white man didn't come on the scene until after that, which was a fraternal twin that, Jacob and Esau, the fraternal twins, and he was born lepers. He was born, looking like how they look. And then what happened was, because they looked so different than everybody else, they got driven into the caves.
What you said about the 5,000 stories of this flood, so shouldn't there have been like a bunch of stories of these aliens coming down and reptiles which could give some.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's the thing. When I first heard that,
Sumerians came before.
Yeah.
And then you see, things ago.
What's that in Corinthians you just had?
Yeah.
But
that's the thing. Like,
throw that out there.
There's not so many stories of aliens coming. You know what I'm saying? And the thing about the Sumerian tablet that's messed up is they put a lot of faith into the Sumerian
race got
tablet,
a story,
but it's in
just
fragments. Like they don't have the whole Sumerian tablet. It's hella incomplete. So it's like, okay, you're gonna put your faith into something that
makes sense.
You can look at the stone and see it's broke off in pieces and nobody knows where that piece is at. You see what I'm saying? And then the story just kind of picks up somewhere. But it's similar to the scriptures, so they feel like, okay, this is really what happened because it's similar to the Bible. But it's really, when you break it down into common sense, you mean to tell me that you really believe? That's what I felt like when these niggas told me that. You really believe that some aliens was down here mining gold and they just created humans and the science experiment, you see what I'm saying? And then it got fucked up. Like, you really believe that?
The master scientist Yaakov.
Yeah, Yaakov.
Something about to have us as like working
to work for them.
And get the resources.
Yeah. And then we eventually just became a people. You know what I'm saying?
That shit sound like an episode of Dragon Ball Z, man.
But even
that's what I said. I said
what's
this
the end
sound
of
like
it? That's the question I always have. What's the end of it?
Well, York says that at the end of it is a mothership is gonna come down and pick up all the black people and leave Earth.
We're supposed to be supposed to metamorph because of the rays.
Yeah. But the sun. Yeah. Metamorph into a superhuman being.
Dragon Ball Z or X-Men. We're the mutants.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? And so, you know, all of the cartoons they put out, when you look at it, we're the mutants, you know.
Kind.
And so,
that's what I said. I said, if this was a movie, I would love to go see this shit. It sounds like a great, this sounds like a great plot.
it's better than Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, for real. But I don't know if I can say that this is what's really happening, you know what I'm saying? It sounds like a great movie though, you know what I mean? But the whole thing is, it's like, okay, but, you know, at the end of the day, it all goes down to belief. A lot of them dudes will say, well, I don't believe anything, I know this for a fact. But if you weren't here when it happened, you really can't say for a fact. It all goes into what you really have faith in and believe.
The natural West African tradition is the orator, like you're saying now.
Yeah.
So, and then each king is appointed a historian. A griot. They're called griots. And the griots, they do it with song. So they're singing and telling. So you were king and you were his griot. You were raised and born. You were raised and born from your position. You were raised and born from a family of griots. Your daddy was the griot
which is a Hebrew custom. Because that's how we get down. You got the tribe of Judah. That's the kings. You got the tribe of Levi. That's the priests. You got certain tribes that's warriors. That's experts in certain things. And you raised up. And that's who you raised to be your whole life. Yeah, exactly.
And so that's why I'm like, well, hey, it's got to be somebody on the map, man. Whether deep down in the jungles of the Congo or somebody that's been passing it on. Just, you know, and then have it written.
Yeah.
And just, you know, hey, just every generation. I don't think it could have gotten lost like that. I think it's gotta be somebody. If it was radicals like y'all and other brethren that's trying to, ain't nothing new on this. I think it was some young brothers back then that was out searching, and you know what I mean. They was the nephew of king or son of king, and they was like, okay, my dad doing all this. That's on the